For my usability test, I was only able to get two participants, both of which were stakeholders in my organization in one way or another. The first, Casey, is a middle school learning support teacher in our neighboring school district. However, she did teach within our school district for a bit. She also lives within our school district and has two daughters who eventually attend my school. These are some of the many reasons she was truly had a vested interest in learning going on at the high school. My blended learning course was intended for ninth graders. This course is typically IEP and 504 heavy, which was a big reason I wanted her to participate in this review. She has a strong background in working with students within her learning support classes and knows what they are coming into the course with, not only academically, but their ability to navigate our LMS Schoology. Due to living close to one another, I was able to let her view my Schoology course using my laptop. My other participant was our staff developer at my school, Stephanie. Stephanie has a background in technology within education and is very well versed in navigating online courses. Of course, she was in the classroom prior to stepping into this role, so she can relate with what I see each and every day. Although we haven't had any formal conversations surrounding blended learning, we have discussed different components of it and how it could look in our setting. Since Steph is our staff developer, she has access to all of our courses, so she was able to view it within her own account. My course was built out via Schoology. However, since I currently have active classes where I currently have classes going on using my Schoology pages, I built it in an archive course from the past, which you can see above says Homeroom 58 here. This is a course that is no longer active, so students are unable to see it anymore, which is why I was able to build it in here. As a side note, I initially hoped to have a former student, Laura, who is now a freshman at Penn State, review this online course. She was one of my homeroom students in this originally assigned Schoology course. However, she was unable to access our LMS due to graduating. I was initially under the impression that she would be able to view her archived courses. My thought was that this would provide a different viewpoint, a student who recently completed their education in our district and has had experience with an online course in college recently. However, this did not come to fruition. In the future, when time allows, I would like to get a future, current, and former student to participate in this usability reflection. The challenges of Schoology licenses within my district restricts that a bit, but I could certainly figure out a way to gain them access temporarily if needed. A student point of view would present a whole new lens and would allow me to get into their head and see what things they look for and where they would naturally move towards. I would anticipate the Start Here and General Course Information modules would be often overlooked by them based off of my experiences within these courses. Again, here's an example of what my General Course Information section looks like, as well as my Start Here section as required by the course. I attached the link to Casey's video feedback below that she created using Screencast-O-Matic. One of the big things she pointed out was the Start Here and General Course Information modules. She pointed out that the Start Here module was mostly devoted toward things that parents would be concerned about and would be directed towards them, while the General Course Information section was student-centered. For this reason, I moved several things back and forth and did some renaming of files within the modules. Although I do not have a problem with these sections having intended audiences, I do want to make sure that it's student-centered as it is their course. Casey and I had a long conversation after she completed her reflection, and she spoke highly of the idea of having data from pre to post within each lesson. For that reason, you could see here in Module 1, some of my lessons have pre and post assessments, formative or summative. For example, my first lesson here has a pre-lesson check-in, which is a discussion board, and ends with a formative check and some DIY problems. For this reason, I made having a pre and post assessment, whether the post was formative or summative, more of a focus as I revised some of my modules. Within her reflection, she also spoke of the importance of having discussion boards, as seen here, and students learning how to communicate appropriately in the digital world. We will talk about how students can reach out to me directly further later on. Self-advocacy skills are pivotal as students make the transition from middle to high school, and we are responsible for continuing to develop these. One idea that we came up with together was developing a template that students could reference when making discussion posts or reaching out to a teacher via email. These will be housed in the student teacher lounge directly for the discussion board, which I'm unable to bring up on my iPad. And the email template will be housed in the general course information section. Another thing that came up was the variety in which lessons were presented. She felt this was a strong component of the course and would keep students engaged as long as they progress through. The idea of differentiation is all over in the blended learning model, and that aligns with the student needs with such varying levels as she mentioned. Again, the additional online resources are presented in different formats. There's a video tutorial, practice worksheets, and written tutorials to cater towards different learners, as well as the way the different lessons are presented. Some are videos created by myself, and some are videos taken off of the internet. Stephanie viewed this with a different point of view, especially as someone who is somewhat on the other side of the classroom. She was very complimentary and impressed by the blended learning course, and in her words, in awe of the organization which it was used. She felt it was extremely user-friendly and intuitive to navigate. Following a natural progression, I was hopeful that Steph would be a little bit more critical. However, she did not have much critique to provide me with, so I was unable to make any major adjustments as a result of her feedback. Perhaps in the future I would do a better job of explaining what exactly I was looking for and how I was encouraging some ideas on how to make this better. However, Stephanie stuck mostly to a summary, which I'll provide below. One minor thing that we discussed was how links open up from Schoology, whether they should open up in the existing tab or in a new tab. For example, if you click on this video right here, it takes you directly to YouTube. However, this video opens up right on the Schoology program. We decided that we were going to poll students on this and see what they prefer based on their experiences. Again, another time where it would have been great to have a student point of view in this usability test. My biggest takeaway from Steph was the confidence she instilled in me. This was one of the first times I had a conversation about my blended learning model with someone in a different role than me in the district, someone who has some pull, if you will, and someone who reports directly to our director of curriculum, who is stuck in her traditional teaching ways. From the reflections and feedback that Casey and Stephanie provided me with, my alignment of my activities and assessment did not alter much. As I mentioned, I am making it more of a point of view to have some form of a pre-assessment included, allowing for a data-based comparison. As Stephanie discussed after she reviewed the course with me, we are still somewhat limited as far as assessment goes in the summative side. The district is in the process of standardizing tests even more via a program called Linkit, so the idea of project-based assessing simply isn't realistic right now. As you could see at the bottom of my Module 1, I did provide our quiz on Schoology, and you can see that it is grayed out because that will be only open for a limited time period in the classroom setting. Just watching the screencast-o-matic recordings had a major impact. It is rare that you have the opportunity to watch someone navigate something you created and allow you to get into the mind of how they naturally progress from page to page and module to module. There were small tweaks that I made as a result of this organizationally. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I am not concerned in any which way about the infrastructure limitations when transitioning to a blended learning model. COVID-19 forced these issues to be handled, and they have a very formal process in place via our tech department to handle any situations that may arise. Most importantly, access to loaner laptops if their laptops have a significant hardware issue. Also, our LMS Schoology has a user-friendly app that students can use to access all materials at any time. Since this is a blended course, there will still be time for in-person learning and discussions, so I will always be available to assist with any issues, technology-based or anything along the lines of that, whether it's content-related or not content-related in the classroom. Also, another thing that we discuss often with both Stephanie and Casey was the significance of the Schoology message and how it is built into the app. Students can simply click on this envelope and they can reach out to me, myself, peers, or other teachers they might need to contact regarding this learning model.